Hello and welcome. Well, in this season we've got more inventions for you. This time, the compass. We've also got a story familiar to anyone who has grown up in China. Mencius's mother moves 3 times. We also delve into the world of myth and legend with the story of the anger of the Lord of Heaven, who was about to destroy humankind, but was thwarted in his aims both by his compassionate daughter and human ingenuity. Destruction is also the theme of another of our myths, with a rather tragic ending about 9 dragons who are finally killed by the great sage king Shun. Now, we're telling you these myths with a purpose, mind you. They both help to explain important aspects of Chinese culture. We then move to the 19th century to celebrate the life of Lin Zexu and his dramatic seizure of illegally trafficked opium. Finally, we discuss a modern hero, a man who took customer service to new levels. 大家好，欢迎来到第5集。我们会有关于发明的故事，指南针有耳熟能详的孟母的故事。我们也会带你探寻神话传奇，有关于天帝的愤怒的故事。他差一点毁灭了人类文明，但最终危机被天帝女儿和人民所瓦解。还有一个悲伤的故事，那就是与恶龙战斗的舜的故事。这2个神话故事的目的是为了帮助你们理解中国传统文化的来源。之后我们会把时间移到19世纪，来歌颂林则徐以及他禁毒的故事。最后我们会讲一个现代伟大的人物，一个全心全意为顾客服务的人。我们在之前的课程中已经讨论过中国文化象征的重要性，特别是某些植物具有象征意义。在这个故事中，我们要解释一种特殊的竹子，称为香妃竹。这种植物的特殊意义在于它象征着忠诚和力量。它所代表的力量并不是那种侵略性或者专横的那种力量，而是一种给人耐力和坚持的力量。这个来源是竹子可以忍受各种恶劣天气和环境上的困难。它不是那种巨大的树的那种坚硬的力量，而是看上去弱小但实际上坚强的那种精神。这个关于香妃竹的故事也是特别伤感，因为竹子上的斑纹除了象征着忠诚和力量之外，还象征着悲剧。娥皇和女英在寻找舜的过程中体现了忠贞和力量的价值。然而，他们的故事也提醒我们，没有痛苦和悲伤就没有力量和忠诚。在某种意义上，这是对真正忠诚和力量的考验。如果一个人不能面对痛苦，那么他就不可以变成一个真正的强壮的人。娥皇和女英提醒了我们，一个好生活需要我们坚持一些原则。在这个故事中，讲的是妻子对丈夫的忠诚，但是更重要的是，根本的原则是你必须把你的生命奉献给一些超越私欲和物质的东西。这种奉献意味着你的生命将是有价值的，哪怕你需要承受苦难。当中国人看到香妃竹，无论是在大自然中还是在一幅画中，所有这些情绪都会被唤起。这是中国文化非常美丽的一部分，值得我们跟外国朋友分享。好的，我现在把这个故事的英文版从头到尾朗诵一下。The Legend of Mottled Bamboo. The Chinese people are fond of bamboo. Bamboo is hollow. It has a modest heart. It is jointed, striving ever upward. Bamboo stands rigid, defying wind and snow, symbolizing dauntlessness in the face of difficulties. Since ancient times, there have been many people who have loved and praised bamboo, and legends about bamboo have been passed down by word of mouth among the people. Mottled bamboo is one of them. The story goes that once upon a time on Mount Jiuyi in Hunan province, there were 9 evil dragons that engaged in all kinds of mischief. They would often frolic in the water of the Xiang River, bursting its dikes and causing annual floods. The turbulent flood waters would inundate the land, destroying crops, carrying away livestock, and destroying houses. The people, left homeless, fled in all directions. When Shun, leader of a local tribal federation, learned about the damage done by the evil dragons, he could neither eat nor sleep. He decided to go to the south and get rid of the evil dragons for the people. Shun had 2 wives, Huang and Ying, the daughters of the previous ruler, Emperor Yao. They were called the Madame Xiang. They were reluctant to part from Shun, especially when they learned how dangerous it would be to kill the dragons. But when they thought of relieving the people from hardship, they resigned themselves to sorrow and bade farewell to Shun. They prayed for him night and day and waited for him to return victorious. But winter went and spring came. Year after year passed, and still there was no news of Shun. So, after a great deal of thought, Huang and Ying decided to go south to look for their husband. They crossed mountain after mountain and river after river, and finally came to Mount Jiuyi. They looked in every village, trod every footpath, and finally came to the place called 3 Peak Rocks. Here there were 3 gigantic rocks, and surrounded by emerald bamboo, a huge tomb made of piled up precious stones. Astonished, they asked a local villager, "Whose is that splendid tomb, and why are those steep rocks standing there?" The villager answered tearfully, "That is the tomb of Emperor Shun, who removed the 9 evil dragons and enabled us to live in peace and happiness. He died of suffering and exhaustion." After Emperor Shun died, the local people buried him on Mount Jiuyi to express their gratitude to him. The cranes of Mount Jiuyi every morning and evening carried in their beaks pure jewels from the South China Sea and scattered them on the tomb until eventually it became a tomb of jewels. The 3 rocks were originally the 3-pronged harrow which Emperor Shun had used to destroy the evil dragons planted in the earth. When they heard this, Huang and Ying were overcome with grief. They prostrated themselves in front of Shun's tomb and wept for 9 days and 9 nights, until blood mixed with their tears, which were sprinkled on the bamboo on the mountain. Later, the bamboo stalks bore traces of splashes, purple, white, and blood-coloured. This kind of rather renowned bamboo is called dappled or mottled or Madame Xiang bamboo. There are many other tales about bamboo besides the one about mottled bamboo, but they all convey a common spirit, one of steadfast loyalty, moral integrity, unbending determination, and fearlessness. The moral of this story. Bamboo has a special symbolism in Chinese culture. Along with plum blossom, orchid, and chrysanthemum, it is one of the 4 gentlemen. And along with plum blossom and pine tree, it is one of the 3 friends in winter. Bamboo represents the modesty and lofty aspirations of the Chinese people and their spiritual character of integrity, endurance, and fearlessness. Okay, so let's look at some recitation skills. In this lesson, we're going to look at using your voice to create a particular atmosphere and emotion. Let's look at a particular paragraph. 好的，我们接下来练习一些朗诵技巧。在这一课，我们将教大家如何用声音营造一种特殊的氛围和感情。我们来看这一段。When they heard this, Huang and Ying were overcome with grief. They prostrated themselves in front of Shun's tomb and wept for 9 days and 9 nights, until blood mixed with their tears, which were sprinkled on the bamboo on the mountain. Later, the bamboo stalks bore traces of splashes, purple, white, and blood-coloured. This kind of rather renowned bamboo is called dappled or mottled, Madame Xiang bamboo. So, at the beginning of this paragraph, we need first to create a sense of sadness. When we look at the first sentence, we should pay particular attention both to the words overcome and the word grief. Grief, of course, means sadness, so we need to try to make that word sad. But we actually need to pay more attention to the phrase overcome with, which is a particularly strong way of emphasizing the word grief. It creates a sense that our emotions have just grown far too strong. 那么在这一段，我们首先需要营造一种悲伤感。在第一句，我们需要特别注意单词 overcome 和 grief。grief 代表悲伤，所以我们需要试着体现出这种感情。但是我们也需要强调 overcome with， 这个也是强调 grief 的一个单词。它创造了一种不能克制的一种感情。我们来听听。When they heard this, 娥皇 and 女莹 were overcome with grief. Now, when we say that phrase, blood mixed with their tears, we should also create a sense of how dreadful they felt and how tragic the whole scene feels. 当我们读到这个短语 blood mixed with their tears， 我们需要营造他们的心痛，以及渲染整个悲剧画面。Until their blood mixed with their tears， 这句话大家在家里可以练一练。Now, in the final sentence, we need to let our emotions calm down. The fact that their grief was the cause of this beautiful bamboo is a kind of aesthetic resolution. 在最后一句，我们需要让声音稳定下来。他们的悲伤是这个竹子产生的原因，变成一种高级审美。Okay, so let's listen to the whole passage again. 我们再来听听整个段落。When they heard this, 娥皇 and 女莹 were overcome with grief. They prostrated themselves in front of Shun's tomb and wept for 9 days and 9 nights, until blood mixed with their tears, which were sprinkled on the bamboo on the mountain. Later, the bamboo stalks bore traces of splashes, purple, white, and blood-coloured. This kind of rather renowned bamboo is called dappled or mottled or Madame Xiang bamboo. 好的，今天的课就讲到这里了，谢谢收看。